FM News Talk 97.1.
On-demand audio.
This story popped up to our attention. Our friend Eric Robert, who works on the weekends, is the one that drew it to my attention and the attention of Jason Church. And this is amazing because if it's true, it's another one of those stories where you're looking at your friend who's reading it to you and saying, "You've got to be kidding me."
Yeah.
It gets back to this problem, my issue with zero tolerance policies. A lot of schools have adopted these, and I think it's because the administrators were too darn lazy to just deal with each incident on its own. So they decided if you're in a fight, whether you started it or not, you're both suspended. Are you kidding me? Some people need to have the crap knocked out of them, particularly if they come up and start something with you. Why would you suspend both people? Jason, did you ever get in a fist fight in high school?
Oh, yeah, everybody has.
Thank you. Katie, have you been in a fist fight? You pull a girl's hair out? Come on.
No way. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
No, I'm just checking.
No way.
Well, I was in fist fights in high school. I mean, the silly thing, most times you never even got called into the office over it. It happened somewhere, nobody was around, whatever. But when it did get called into the office, it was up to the administrators to sit down and say, all right, you started it, you schmuck, you're out of here for a week, right? Or you got in-school suspension or something like that if they thought you were both responsible. These days, zero tolerance, you're gone. So here's what happened over in Collinsville, according to this lady on Facebook. Picked up her 4-year-old from preschool in Troy. Her arrival was met with a stone-faced teacher who told her that the little boy had brought a shotgun bullet to school.
A shotgun bullet.
This is in quotation marks. Lady says she was horrified. My kid, who just spent the weekend learning gun safety? Are you kidding me? Well, when they took her to the office for a sit-down, she was handed an empty .22 caliber brass casing. Clearly not a shotgun bullet. The kid apparently found it on the ground, expelled from a .22 rifle over the weekend while they were target practicing with his grandfather, who's a police officer, and he was very excited about it and apparently stuck it in his pants pocket that morning to take to his preschool to show his friends. The parents had no idea he even had the thing. So the mom gets handed a piece of paper explaining that this kid's behavior warranted a 7-day suspension from school, during which she's still expected to pay tuition, of course, because it's a preschool, and a threat that if his enthusiasm for guns continued, he'd be permanently expelled. This is maddening to me. I've been in contact with the mother in this case, and I've asked her to call the program. And Kelly or Kristy, if you're listening, I just sent you the phone number. So feel free to give us a call down here, and I'll put you on the air. I'd love to get your take on this because she wrote this yesterday, and I'm anxious to find out if this has been resolved in any way because it defies logic. I mean, this is like the kid that chewed his Pop-Tart into a gun and got suspended for it. Maybe it was a teaching moment. Certainly, if your kid's got an empty shell from a .22, it clearly poses no threat to anyone. He's 4 years old. He didn't hurt anybody. He just wanted to show this thing to them. But this is what you get with these zero tolerance policies. Kristy even posted a picture of the shell casing. It's like any other .22 shell casing that you've ever seen in your life. But when I saw this, I'm like, there's no way this really happened. Is that possible? But apparently it did. It happened over in Troy, Illinois. And the little kid is now suspended. His mother, Kristy Jackson, is joining us right now from Collinsville, Illinois. Kristy, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me on.
You bet. I've related some of the details from your post about this, but Did you get anywhere with these folks at this? I assume this is a private child care facility?
It is. It's a private daycare with a preschool curriculum program. He'll be going to kindergarten in the fall, so he's there until then. But I don't know about any more, I guess. I haven't gotten really anywhere with them other than emails exchanging all day. The last word was that he was going to call DCFS on me and sue me. So,
What?
I don't know.
Why? Because you talked about this?
Because I shared it on my Facebook. I thought that there's a lot of hunters around these parts in Troy and
Sure.
Collinsville and O'Fallon and the Metro East as a whole. And it's a community, and a lot of kids go with their parents to hunt, to walk through the woods, to be in the nature, and they find these things, and it could happen to anyone. So to me, having a child suspended because he brought a piece of metal to school seems excessive, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I have a question, because I'm sure that when you go to sign up for this particular preschool, do they give you a piece of paper with expectations of behavior? Does it say on there anywhere if the kid brings a shell casing to school or anything that is connected to a weapon in any way?
That's a great question. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
talk
that's
over
okay.
you.
Go ahead.
I think that's a great question, and this just happened, last night, and scrambling to try to make arrangements. I haven't had the time to dig through my paperwork. I did find 14 pages of signed documents that I sent to school, everything from a permission slip that's saying that they're allowed to give my son medication, to sunscreen, to take him off premises, to take his picture. I had to sign 14 pages of documents, and there was never one that I've signed saying that, he couldn't bring an empty shell casing to school. So I guess I don't have an answer to that right now.
Wow. Well, the facility is called a Place to Grow. I'll say it. I mean, it's up in Troy. People might as well know. I mean, I think parents need to understand this. In this particular case, your son, his name is Hunter. Is that correct?
Yes.
So he was at a place where his grandpa's a police officer. There was
Correct.
some target shooting going on. He finds this empty .22 shell. I remember my son doing something like that with a shell one time. He thought that was cool. Asked if he could keep it. I had no problem with it. Now I think back on it, had he gone to his elementary school with it, who knows what would have happened these days? It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm from, originally Florida and Alabama. And, on the farm, we did these kinds of things all the time. I remember my friends bringing empty shell casings in a bag to school to show everybody. It was fine. And I get that it's not fine now and that our culture has changed and this isn't something we can promote anymore if we want to keep our kids sociable in schools and keep, administrations happy. I understand the rules. And I don't understand the consequences. This was excessive. He's 4. He's little, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't know why his school doesn't want him back.
So for you, this is a teachable moment, right? You say, now, Hunter, you can't do this anymore. This is not something you can take to school, and he's not going to take it to school anymore. But
last night he told me, Mommy, I don't like my school anymore, and I'm mad at them. And I said, okay, you hold on right there. You have to learn accountability. Well, what does that mean? Hunter, that means that you aren't allowed to do these things, and we teach you about gun safety. And this may have been one of the things that slipped our mind to mention. Don't pick up brass and take it to school.
Right.
But you have been told what's appropriate. You're not allowed to pretend to shoot your friends. You're not allowed to talk about guns and that guns are off limits. So you shouldn't have brought that. Otherwise, you would have told us you were bringing it. So you did it to be sneaky. And so this is, I just did make it a teachable moment with my son to where he knows he will never do anything like this again. And that's what it should have been on a school level.
Kristy, I really hope this gets resolved, because I know, if this is the preschool and you're having to make other arrangements if you work, and I hope it gets worked out. Maybe he'll see some reason in the fact that obviously nobody was going to get hurt with whatever this was, and he's 4.
Right.
So,
and the kicker is that they want me to pay tuition for the time he's not there still.
to reserve your spot, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's just crazy.
So, we'll see.
Kristy Jackson, thanks so much for your time. Let us know how this gets resolved. Would you do that?
I will. Absolutely.
I appreciate
Thanks so much for having me on again. I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story.
You bet. Kristy, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on. And wow. I'm going to tell you something. So I'm 51 years old, right? When I was in 6th grade, so that would have been in 1977, something like that, 76, I'm thinking, maybe 76. I went to my middle school, maybe it was 7th grade, and we had to stand up and give a speech about something. And I asked my teacher, can I bring in this German Luger that my uncle brought back from World War II? And they're like, just make sure it's unloaded. Have your parents bring it to the principal's office, and I'll walk you down just before class, and we'll bring it back to school, and you can show it around, and then we'll take it back to the principal's office.
Oh, wow.
So I brought what I thought then it was a German Luger. It was actually a Walther P38, right? So I get the gun. We bring it. My mom brings it to school. I carry it down. It doesn't have a magazine in it or anything. I show it to the whole class, tell them the story about how my uncle found this in World War II and shipped it back home, and it's been handed down in the family. And today we've got kids getting suspended for bringing in an empty .22 caliber shell casing. Things are going to hell in a handbasket. I'm just telling you. All right.